After 20 years of tinnitus and 4 years of extremely bad tinnitus, where I couldn't hear the phone ring or hold down a job, and really going through the worst period of my life, I went to see a cranial sacral therapist, and this really helped reduce my tinnitus to a very manageable level. In fact, 6 months after embarking on a course of cranial sacral therapy and then going into a training where I had a lot of practice with other students, my tinnitus stopped, and it was incredible. It was a life-changing moment for me. It lasted for a few months, and then my tinnitus came back and plateaued out at a very low level for several years. And it wasn't until I addressed the issues of Candida that my tinnitus went away completely. I had a wonderful experience of it backing off, but then when it came back, I kept on thinking to myself, why is this still here? What's going on? Because I'd learned a lot about tinnitus by then, and I was learning to meditate. I was really on my path of learning how to let go deeply. And so my stress levels had dropped right down, and I was in a much better space. But I'd had many, many problems with Candida throughout my life. I had, unfortunately, lots of bronchitis as a child, so I had endless antibiotics. And I also had a very unhealthy diet of sugar. Having read a few books on sugar, notably one called Poison and another one called Lick the Sugar Habit, it completely put me off sugar. It's quite a toxic, highly addictive hormone that's incredibly bad for us. It's really quite shocking, actually, how awful sugar is. But it's big business, isn't it? Anyway, the issues that I had with Candida, I eventually plucked up the courage to go on a Candida diet, which is a very, very healthy diet where you're not allowed anything that can create yeast or fermenting in the body. So no sugar, no cheese, no mushrooms, no marmite, no wine, beer, bread, all the things that can keep a yeast infection going in your body. And I went on this diet, and about 6 weeks later, I experienced night sweats, shaking. Uh, I felt dreadful for a couple of weeks, had a really bad headache, and the shaky trembliness was really, really quite alarming. And as my body cleared itself of fungal infections and all sorts of things, what happened was, after this horrible detox that I went through, my system really settled, and I started sleeping very deeply and feeling incredibly calm and relaxed. And over the course of a few weeks, after the really nasty stuff, my tinnitus backed off completely. And I have worked with many people that have had dietary issues, issues with Candida, and it's very much linked into tinnitus. To state the obvious, tinnitus loves struggle or resistance in the body. And if your blood system is really fighting with Candida, it is not very helpful. But if you can get that whole layer of resistance to release out, then it frees you up and leaves you with a lot more energy, and your body becomes much, much better able to manage the daily challenges of life. And in my case, the tinnitus really transformed. It got much, much better. So if you've had a history of thrush, candida, or candidiasis, if you have addictions to sugar and alcohol and cheese and mushrooms, and you've had quite a lot of antibiotics in your life, it might be quite interesting to consider going on to a diet for Candida. as a means of improving your tinnitus. It was definitely the case with me. My tinnitus got much, much better. The cranial work brought it down to a manageable level, but Candida, the Candida diet just made me feel so much better and got it to back off completely. And I have worked with many people who have reported the same thing.